The history of Peru begins long before the arrival of European conquerors. Around 3,000 years before Christ, early agricultural communities developed along the coastal regions. These societies cultivated crops such as maize, squash, and beans, and laid the foundations for complex social structures. By approximately 2,000 years before Christ, advanced cultures such as Norte Chico had emerged, which are considered among the oldest urban civilizations in the Americas. Between 600 years before Christ and 200 years after Christ, several influential pre-Columbian cultures flourished in the Andean region. One of the most significant was the Chavin culture, whose religious and ceremonial centers were located in the highlands. Later, the Paracas culture and the Nazca culture, which developed between 100 years before Christ and 800 years after Christ, became known for their sophisticated textiles and large geoglyphs carved into the desert landscape. Along the northern coast of Peru, the Moche culture thrived between 100 years after Christ and 800 years after Christ, producing highly detailed ceramics and monumental pyramids. At the same time, the Wari culture, which existed from approximately 500 years after Christ to 1,000 years after Christ, established an early form of centralized administration and infrastructure in the Andean highlands. From the 13th century after Christ, beginning around 1,200 years after Christ, the Inca Empire rose to prominence. It became the largest pre-Columbian empire in South America, with its capital in Cusco. The Incas constructed an extensive road system, developed advanced agricultural techniques, and built impressive architectural sites such as Machu Picchu. Their empire extended from present-day Ecuador to southern Chile. In the year 1532 after Christ, the Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro arrived in Peru. Through military conquest, political manipulation, and the spread of diseases such as smallpox, the Inca Empire collapsed within a few years. Peru became part of the Viceroyalty of Peru, which was officially established in the year 1542 after Christ, marking the beginning of nearly 3 centuries of Spanish colonial rule. During the 19th century after Christ, movements for independence spread across South America. On the 28th day of July, in the year 1821 after Christ, José de San Martín proclaimed the independence of Peru. The Spanish were finally defeated in the year 1824 after Christ at the Battle of Ayacucho, led by Antonio José de Sucre. In the 20th century after Christ, Peru experienced periods of political instability, economic reform, and social conflict. Between the year 1968 after Christ and the year 1980 after Christ, a military government ruled the country and implemented major land reforms. From the 1980s after Christ, Peru faced internal conflict with guerrilla groups such as Sendero Luminoso, resulting in widespread violence and human rights abuses. Since the 1990s after Christ, Peru has undergone political stabilization and economic growth. Under the presidency of Alberto Fujimori, the country experienced authoritarian reforms, followed by a return to democratic governance. Economic development has been driven primarily by mining, agriculture, and tourism. In the 21st century after Christ, from the year 2000 after Christ to the year 2026 after Christ, Peru has remained one of the more stable nations in South America. Nevertheless, challenges such as social inequality, environmental degradation, and political instability continue to shape the country's development. The integration of indigenous communities and the protection of cultural heritage remain central issues in Peruvian society.